Family Dynamic Conversations, where families and stories come in all shapes and sizes. I come from a family of 12. You may be an only child. What matters is caring, sharing, and finding ways to relate to one another. Hello, and welcome again to Family Dynamic Conversations podcast. I am your host, Janice Kingsbury. Thank you for joining me today. You ever said to yourself, what the hell am I doing here? Or how did I get here? Maybe it's a good celebratory thing. This is wonderful. Look at all the things I've accomplished and look where I am now. Or it was challenging, scary, and you want to know, what the hell did I do to get here? Well, I'm taking this right out of my guest's website, who has that question and her own insights on how she may have gotten there. Today's episode is based on the survival story. Many of us in childhood have to deal with drastic changes in our life. Other of us have sailed through. But all of us have had to change to a different tack when those winds of life change and we have no control over it. Just think to yourself how many times you've had to reevaluate what you're doing, why you're doing it, but it makes you stronger, makes you more compassionate, makes you more creative, creating opportunities to get you through whatever you're going through to move you forward. Well, my guest today has risen through the ashes many times. So many times she has included in her identity and story the symbol of the phoenix. Do you have a tattoo of that, Yvonne? She sure does. So I introduce you to the amazing Dr. Yvonne Kaye. Thank you for joining me today.
I'm thrilled to join you. This is exciting. You can just listen to all your comments and questions and guiding me in whatever way you want me to go. And yes, how the hell did I get here from there certainly is my attitude to life. But half the time I don't know. For sure.
I've thought about it many times. I am going to continue with my introduction, but I'm going to look at my notes so I don't screw it up. She has a PhD, which is considered the highest postgraduate achievement you can earn, and an MSc, Master of Science, another postgraduate degree in the field of science, mathematics, medicine, and healthcare. And I have a degree in WTH, as in, what the hell are you doing talking to me, Yvonne? That's no degree of understanding.
Listen, I say my PhD means piled higher and deeper.
Love it.
I just love it. You know. Yeah.
Her website is YvonneKayeWisdom.com. I highly recommend it. I went through it and found it very relatable and insightful in everyday life. All of us go through changes. All of us go through grief. All of us deal with wonderful family and situations in your life. And her website covers a lot of all of that. And one of her books includes The Child That Never Was, Grieving Your Past to Grow into the Future. We are going to dive into this topic with Yvonne's amazing story. Another book of hers is 366 Encouragements of Prosperity, Keys to the Treasures Within Daily Affirmations book. And I'm going to have Yvonne read today's encouragement at the end of the podcast. All right, quoting from her website, mother, grandmother, storyteller, writer, published author, thanatologist, humorist, and former Philadelphia radio talk show host, Dr. Yvonne Kaye has been involved with people since 1951 in her native England. Please explain thanatology.
Thanatology comes from the Greek word thanatopsis, which is the study of death. And I'm a bereavement specialist. I work mainly with families who've lost a child to death. And my specialty is working with the parents of murdered children. I do all kinds of grief work, but that my emphasis is on families who've lost a child to death, because it's the wrong order of nature, and you don't ever forget that, ever.
For sure.
And
it's brutal.
I'm amazed at them, their courage, their resilience just astonishes me.
I bet. Gives you hope and gratitude. Yvonne is a survivor of the World War II Blitz bombing of England as a child. Now, how old were you when this was happening?
It was just before my 6th birthday. And we were away on holiday, actually, the family, in a place called Blitz, which is outside of Canterbury in Kent, which is a very famous place. Canterbury Cathedral, and so it's a gorgeous place. And suddenly the family just up and left. And they left me there without a word. I didn't know what was going on. And I was there for 6 months. And nobody spoke to me or told me anything.
So let me get this right. Your mother and father are vacationing with you. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
No, I am what they beautifully call a bastard. I don't know my father. So when anyone calls anyone a bastard, I say, hi, hello. That would be me. And I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever relationship my mother had with my real father left her with a lifetime of deep sadness. And that was a shame. And she married this awful man, because in the 30s, when I was born, I mean, it was a total disgrace. It's not like it is today. And she married him to give me a name. She had 25 years of hell.
So again, you're left behind. You go into some room and you don't know where your mother is. And do a bunch of adults approach you and say, just this way?
Nope, nothing.
So what did you do?
I stayed. I had no option. The only good thing about it, it was on a farm, and I'm an animal rights activist now. I love animals, so I had the animals, and I used to drink milk straight from the cow, none of this pasteurized stuff. So, a child is very resilient.
Wow.
And I just got on with it and just did whatever I was supposed to do. The people were very kind, very, very kind to me. I have to say that. So I was there for 6 months, and then I went back to London.
So you're in Canterbury, and you said you were there for 6 months. You said your mother got remarried. When were you reunited back with her?
Oh, and my mother was married before I was born to give me a name. Married when she was pregnant, married this man. I went back to London. That would be in 1940. I went back to London. And that's when the bombing started, because in the beginning they called it the phony war, because nothing happened. There was no fighting, there was nothing. And then suddenly the Luftwaffe, the Nazi bombers, got moving, and that's when they started. In 1940, 41 and 42 were the worst years. We were bombed day and night, and we were bombed out twice. And the second time we were running in the streets, and these people came out of their houses and took us in, and they had little more than we did. And those people formed my life. They're my heroes. Because I looked at them when I was 8, I looked at them and I said, I want to be like that when I grow up. And I am. And it's those people that did that. I mean, 14 members of my family went straight into combat. I call him my foster father because I don't want to own him as a parent.
Yeah.
He was a London taxi driver, and the taxi drivers used to become ambulances, fire trucks. They did their bit there.
Yeah.
Everybody did their bit.
Right.
But it was a terrifying time for a little girl, especially in my family, because nobody talked to anybody. So there was no comforting or anything like that.
Wow.
Got on with it. And I saw some of my little friends killed right in front of my eyes with bombs. I still have PTSD, even after all those years ago, and I work with veterans. I love working with veterans.
You would still have PSD.
Yeah. Yes. If I know there's going to be fireworks, I'm all right. But if I don't know, I freeze, and sirens can make me freeze, and police sirens and fire, anything can make me just stop dead in my tracks.
Yes.
And I'm better than I was.
Oh my gosh.
In the beginning, I had to get to a window. Okay. And now I just sit and breathe. Usually one of my veterans with PTSD will call me, or with night terrors will call me. And that's fine.
Oh.
Yeah, I work him through. It's usually a man.
Yeah. I think about that all the time with fireworks, especially the very end when it's just one after another after another.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that the Blitz was also like that.
What I discovered is, I think it's Spain. They produce soundless fireworks. I don't know why we can't get those. It's just beautiful fireworks, but there's no sound.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind those.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
Well, they have those drones now that at night, they send them up, you can't see them, and then they turn their lights on, and they go into different shapes and waves of things, and But
I didn't know that, because I'm in the house with the television up loud and the curtains drawn, so I don't know. But I'll look at that in future.
Now, what about earphones for yourself? Noise canceling earphones.
I love music, so I have a very, very loud music, and there's me with Sir Winston Leonard Ernest Churchill, who's my cat.
Is he going to make an appearance?
Oh, he's a neurotic as hell. He really is. He's very neurotic, and he was a rescue as a senior, and he was abused. So I understand.
Yeah,
I understand why he's fine with me. Very quietly, but he might appear, but he won't let me pick him up, so I won't be able to show you anyway.
Okay.
But he's a Bengal. He's a tabby Bengal.
Nice.
And he's a big boy, and he sleeps with me, and he headbutts if I don't stroke him quick enough. So I've got bruises all over me from being headbutted. Oh, he's got such a hard head.
But so you're playing this music during the fireworks? So you don't hear them?
Yes. Oh, if I know they're coming, I'm okay.
Okay.
It's only if I don't know they're coming that they scare the hell out of me. Because it wasn't just the bombs, it was what we called ACAC guns, where they're huge guns to shoot the planes down. And that's what the fireworks sound like. They sound like the guns.
This is a whole new thing I knew nothing about.
Well, I went to Upper Perkiomen School District in the 6th grades, and they'd been studying the Holocaust. And they asked the teacher, what happened to children in other countries? So I knew her. And she asked me, she was the counselor actually, asked me to come and speak to 4 6th grade classes. And they came up with a name for me. They call me Living History. That's my title, Living History. Those children were phenomenal, better than any audience I've ever spoken to. They were amazing, these children.
Why? They were just listening so intently?
Well, yes, they were, but also I asked them, what literature, modern literature, do you think helps me? I responded, and they all said Harry Potter.
Oh,
And I said,
yay.
yep, Harry Potter. And I just happened to have a wand with me, and we passed it round, and I had my Gryffindor scarf with me. I'm a Harry Potter freak.
I
I
love it
am.
too.
I went to the Harry Potter experience in London, and my cousins had so much trouble getting me out. I didn't want to leave. It was magnificent. It's not rides. Yeah, there are no rides there. It's where the films were actually made. A
Oh,
marvelous experience.
how
Incredible.
fun. I will have to book a ticket because I would love that.
Do. You would love it. It's so different.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I remember every Christmas when those movies would come out, we'd make sure and get into the first few days of it. We couldn't wait to see those movies. And the books, I've read them a few times each. I love it.
I have all the books, and I have them on CD,
Oh,
which
nice.
is fantastic. The man did 130 voices.
Wow.
So when I saw the film and I heard Hagrid, I said, that's not Hagrid. No.
What is that?
I just love them. They're all back there. They've got a shelf all to themselves.
That's
wonderful.
Well, I remember when those books came out, my son Spencer was young. I mean, before he could read. And so we'd read those stories at night, and it would help to get him excited about reading. But I think after the third book came out, he said, no, thanks, Mom. And I was like, really? Is it me reading? No. But the funny thing is, his last trip here, he said, do you mind if I take one of the books home and, just read it at my leisure? And I go, take them all. Please read them. And he was here a couple of weeks, and I think he got through most of one. So I was like,
do you know what really upset me? I had to get a new car, and there's no CD player in it.
Oh, no.
It infuriates. Oh, damn.
That was easy.
I knew that damn thing was going to go off.
Alrighty. Now, I have to go back to your childhood because I think it's hugely important to understand what you went through. So, primary years in England, what are those ages?
Well, it started when I was 6, and then I was evacuated again when I was 9. Again, without a word, just put on a bus, and nobody said goodbye, nobody said a word. And I landed in a place called Highbridge in Somerset, which is on the west, in the west of England. And I got off the bus with my little case and the label.
Oh, yes.
I still got the gas mask I had to wear. I still got it. And this tall, silver-haired man came up and said, I'll take that one. And I just went.
I'll take that one?
Yeah, that's what he said. I'll take that one.
Oh, my gosh.
And I just went with him. That was it.
You had no choice. There was nothing you could do. And how did he treat you?
He was lovely.
Oh, thank goodness.
His wife, yeah. And his daughter,
Wow.
But he was great. And his other daughter, who lived across the way, who had 6 sons, she was lovely.
Oh, good.
She was very, very lovely to me. But his wife and the daughter, not good. Not good.
And you stayed with them for how long?
I was there, I think about 9 months. She was very punitive. I had a doll called Queenie, and I was allowed to hold her for half an hour every Sunday.
Oh, God.
But if the news came on that London had been bombed and I cried, I wasn't allowed to hold her on Sunday. And that is why today I don't cry.
Oh my
I
God.
still don't cry.
You won't let
Nope.
yourself.
I don't know why. I want to, but nothing happens. And
Interesting.
I get angry.
Mm.
And my oldest daughter tells me I cry through my nose because my nose always starts running. She says, "You're crying, Mum. It's just coming through the wrong aperture."
She's got a good sense of humor too, then.
They all have. When we go out to dinner, the four of them, I don't want to sit with them. They're gross. No, I don't want to sit with them. I'd rather sit by myself.
Because they're as funny as you?
Yeah,
Or
very dark. We have
Oh.
very dark humor.
Oh,
But we're hilarious. I mean, when I work with my cancer patients, I have a call. In fact, I'll be there this Wednesday, called "Laughing When Nothing Seems Funny and When It Is." I find humor in just about anything. Even when I work with the parents of murdered children, when I go to their meetings, there's always laughter before, and then there's meeting, and then there's laughter afterwards. And
Great.
even remembering some of the funny things their children did, things like that. It's just, and look, we've been told scientifically it releases the endorphins in the brain. It's healing. And I always say, laugh with, never laugh at.
Nice. Yeah.
It's very healing.
yeah.
And you have how many grandchildren now?
I have 7 and one of a bit great-grandchildren.
Wow.
The bit will come in November. He or she's not here yet.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
I've got a 3-year-old and she's got a mouth like a longshoreman. Not me. I never curse. I'm one of those weirdos. I never curse. People say that. You never curse, you? I said, no, I have a very good vocabulary. Why don't you look in the dictionary? Maybe you'll have one too. I mean, I don't care hearing people curse. I work with veterans. It's every other word. That doesn't bother me. It's just I don't, but the 3-year-old does.
Where does the 3-year-old get it?
We think it's from her mother. We think. I thought it was from my daughter, but no. And they brought her over Christmas Eve. I bought her a scooter and we put the scooter together. She got on the scooter, fell off, and she said, "Oh, it." And I've been sitting in my chair going, "What?" And I'm biting the insides of my cheek so I don't laugh. And then she said it last week. She went to dance class and she fell off something. She said it again in class.
Oh my God.
Hilarious.
Oh, thank God.
Hilarious.
Thank God.
I babysit my,
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
but
I
the
love it.
3-year-old,
Yeah, they've
yeah,
always got,
3-year-old,
all
yeah,
got a great sense of humor.
yeah. She
Yeah.
loves to
Mhm.
make people laugh, which
That's great.
that's the best.
It's ahead
That's the
already.
Yeah.
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 It's great. Okay, so you're 9 months, this nice gentleman, but the mom and daughter are not nice. And then where do you go?
Well, like a lot of us children, the way that we got back to London or Manchester, whatever the city was that was being bombed, we made ourselves ill. We weren't ill, but we made ourselves seem ill. So they felt that they should send them back to the parents.
Wow.
So I think my family created the word dysfunctional because I got off the train at Victoria Station and my mother forgot to pick me up. So there I was, 8 years old, and this lovely policeman took hold of me and finally found her. And they put me in a police car and took me home. But my family was it was a family of secrets. My mother was one of 14 children. Need I say more? She was right bang in the middle. Codependent alley. Crazy. My favorite aunt. I have to tell you, would you like to hear a story about my favorite aunt?
Yes, please tell me.
My favorite aunt, called her Birdie, Auntie Birdie. And I adored her, and she was very protective of me during the war.
Good.
But I always tell people it's thanks to my Aunt Birdie that women are allowed to wear slacks and pants today. Because she was young and she was lovely, and there were a lot of GIs in London, a lot of American soldiers, sailors, whatever. She had a good time. So she goes to this restaurant one night, and the maitre d' said, "I'm sorry, madam, we do not allow women in pantsuits in here." So she said, "Well, if a man comes without a tie, you give him a tie. Do you have a skirt?" And he said no. So she went back to her date, and then she went back again, and she said, "I really want to go in. I'm with this American soldier." He said, "I'm sorry, I told you." And she went back, and she's talking, and finally, the third time she goes back, and she said, "This is absolutely ridiculous." And he said, "I'm very sorry. Do not allow women in the restaurant wearing pants." So she dropped them. You've never seen her get a table so fast in your life. She's standing there with her trousers round her ankles. So you see, the humour and the eccentricity runs in the family.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God. I
She
have
was
been
a piece of...
on the end of Yvonne's humor many times in my life, and I thank God every time I talk to her. We met how many years ago? 5 years ago.
I was going to ask you, when and where? Where did I meet you?
Met at a writing class.
That's right.
Yeah. And I sat next to you, and I just laughed most of the time. Just basically did the little writing exercise. And you knew her.
Now and then.
You knew her.
Oh my word.
So entertaining. I said, I have to stay around this woman as much as I can.
You know, I really think it's very important. And I live by a saying, well, lots of sayings, but I like this one. It's not mine. I don't know where it came from. But it's overcoming is not the same as getting over.
Oh.
And I love that.
Yeah.
So I've overcome a lot in my life. Do I still have it in my body, in my heart? Absolutely. No question. And I've experienced happiness when I got married a second time. That was phenomenal.
Yes.
He's been gone 9 years now.
Oh.
And he at 17 went into the Royal Navy straight into combat. I mean, I didn't know him then, of course.
Right. Wow.
Right.
17.
But it seems I've been surrounded by the military my whole life.
Yes.
And I hate war, but I will defend the military because it's not their idea.
That's right.
Politicians make war, not the
Yes.
military.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
I have a strong connection there with them.
So is it just a counseling that you do? Do you have an office somewhere? How do you get to know these military that you can help?
Well, I work at Living Room, a drug and alcohol rehab in Bensalem, Bucks County. And they have a program there called Fract. And I was with Fract since it began. And it's for first responders, Army, Navy, military, who are in recovery from alcohol, drugs, but also all with PTSD and night terrors. So I've been involved with them since it began. They call me the Queen of Frat. That's what they call me, the Queen of Frat. And I just feel so incredibly compassionate, but also very, very down to earth. That's what they like. They've made me an honorary veteran because of what happened in the Blitz.
Yes.
Which I think was charming.
Right.
But they're always very welcoming. And so I'm with the recovering community for an hour Sunday morning, and then I go to Fract after that. I mean, I'd like to go for the whole 2 hours to Fract, but I have to do this other thing too, which I enjoy. It's not a hazard at all. I enjoy doing it. I've been with Living Room for 50 years now. So I told them it's about time they celebrated me. Get on with it.
Time's ticking. Let's get this done.
I'm not backward in coming forward, as they say.
Now, you said you help the veterans with night terrors. Is that something you experience at all?
I did, not anymore.
Oh, good.
When I became involved with John, he understood, because he'd been in combat in the Navy, so he understood the noise, the smell, he got that. So he was very supportive and very compassionate. And I came through a lot of recovery with him, to the point I am now, which is just every so often. I get a flashback, you know.
Right.
But I know what it's like, which is why I can be with the veterans, because they know I get it.
Right.
The noise, the noise and the smell, those two things, I really, really understand.
Yes.
When you're bombed out, that smell is horrific.
So you said you were back in London, 1940?
41, 42. 43, I was sent away and then came back. And then in 44, I was sent away to a horrific family who didn't talk to me. I was a little girl.
Why
They
did they
had two
take people
children.
in like that?
They were forced to. If they had a spare bedroom, they had to take a child. And I only stayed there for a couple of months. And I said, if you don't let me come home, I will run away. And I would have run away. So I went back then in 44, and that was it. I didn't go anywhere else. And there was another year of war, and then 5 years of fascism after that. People don't know about that.
No. Tell me more about that.
Well, there was a man called Sir Oswald Mosley, and he was married to an American woman. I always forget her name, but she comes from a family of writers. Okay. Anyway, he was a fascist, followed Mussolini, and he decided that he got rid of Hitler, but he was still there. So he went after the Jews and the people of colour. And he would ride through my town of Brixton in South London on horses, black shirts, whips, chains. And my foster brothers, one was in the Air Force and then two brothers were in the Navy, they would go down to him. And they'd come back all beaten and blooded, and we had to patch them up, and they'd go back again. And the police arrested them.
Oh, no.
And finally, there's something on, if anyone is ever interested in any of this, there's something on the computer called the 43 group. And that was a group of Jewish ex-servicemen that came back after fighting Hitler on the front line, only to see this man doing the same damn thing.
Right.
So they put it out that they were going to have a meeting, and 43 people showed up. So they called it the 43 group. Now it grew after that. Good. And they took him out. Good. They got rid of him. But their story is amazing. So just on the computer, it's just called the 43 group, and it's really enlightening.
Thank you.
Very courageous.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will look into that. That sounds...
For the heroes.
Heroism. Yeah. Yep. So this has now shaped your life. You are passed around. You're not accepted. They don't talk to you.
No. Well, I was a foster child. You know, I know what being a foster child is like.
Right. And you then finally get away and start your own life at what point?
Oh, no, I was in school. I was very fortunate. The school, in England, you don't go from elementary school to middle school to high school. You have to take national exams. So I was very fortunate in the exam I took to be allocated to a first class all girls high school. And half the high school was evacuated to Wales. So I went in the war. I went into this school and I was there until 6th grade, which would be, I don't know, is that the top in this country? Is it 6th grade? Is that the top?
6th grade is the end of the primary going into middle school. So 7th grade and 8th grade is middle school.
And the top is 12th?
Yes.
When they graduate from 12th. Well, over there, the 6th grade is the 12th grade. And there was the vice president, or we call them headmistresses over there, not principal. The vice headmistress was a Miss Fraser, and she was a Nazi supporter.
What do you do with that?
When she retired, she went to live in Germany.
Good.
She was something.
Wow. Yeah. And so did she run the school? They would put Jewish
Yes.
children?
Yeah. Mhm. Yep.
So scary.
Till
So scary.
the war was over and they came back from Wales, and the headmistress was Dame Dorothy Brock, and she came back and took over, but the woman stayed.
Oh,
Don't know how she got away with it.
No.
She was a monster. Absolute
Yikes.
monster. And very open about it.
Really?
Very
Really?
open.
Well, I guess this country's kind of going through similar idea of either you understand this type of activity and justify it, or you go the other way.
Interestingly, you would say that, because when I've been speaking lately, I've been saying, think
Yeah.
about who you're going to vote for, because I'm
Absolutely.
seeing my childhood all over again.
Just gives me chills up my back.
Someone who wants to be a dictator. Hitler was a dictator. We lived under the threat of Hitler for 6 years.
Mm.
And if he'd come across the English Channel instead of going after the Russians, I wouldn't be here.
True.
I mean, Churchill is my hero.
Yeah.
And I have another hero, Dr. Victor Frankl.
Yes. Now tell me
Changed my life.
when you first started reading Frankl.
Well, I was married to a narcissist for 25 years.
Oh,
And I was a raging codependent at that time. So I did as I was told. He said, we're going to America. And even though I didn't want to come because everybody I knew and loved was in London, I had to come. And I was dangerously homesick. And if I didn't have 4 young children, I don't know what I would have done. I really, truly don't.
yes.
I was petrified, hated it. And then a woman came to see me, and she was the mother of a friend that one of my children had known of a friend in school.
Okay.
And she came over with this book. And she said, I want you to read this book. And I said, I'm not reading that book. Came the next week, I said, I'm not reading it. Came the third book. She said, I'm not leaving until you read this book. So this is the book. It's probably backwards.
No?
And Search for Meaning. I have my original copy in my briefcase, which is falling apart. I've lost the covers, and so I got another one. And 15 incredible minutes of my life that I will never forget.
Yeah.
I spoke to him on the phone. I'd love to come and see you. And he said, I'm very frail now. So I said, well, could you send me an autographed copy of the book? And he said, I will send you a message. So he wrote it in the book.
I can't read it. What does
So
it
I
say?
stuck it. No, I will read it. It just says, for Dr. Yvonne Kaye, with all good wishes, Victor Frankl.
That's wonderful.
And I spoke to him for 15 minutes. I'll never forget it. And the man had such humility. And he wrote this in Auschwitz and hid it in his pants. He'd been sent to Buchenwald, and the United States had given him a visa, but not his wife or his mother, father, brother, so he stayed there. I don't know why the hell they couldn't have given him a visa for the family, but that was what happened. And so he went to Buchenwald, and then his entire family perished in Auschwitz. When he was in there, and boy, when we talk about resilience,
Crazy.
this whole book is about choice. He said people make conscious decisions on the way they feel, and I did not know that.
Yeah.
But my favorite story is he was laying train tracks in Auschwitz, and it was bitterly cold, and he had no gloves, and his skin was sticking to the steel, and a little bird flew down and landed on the tracks and looked up at him with her big brown eyes, and he chose to believe that was the soul and the spirit of his wife. He could have said it's just a bird, but he didn't. And that's the essence of this book. It's all about choice. I've been in recovery myself for 53 years.
Yeah.
Because the hell I had when I came to this country, I drank.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah.
But I've been with the program for 53 years, and I'm very grateful, one day at a time. And I talk about this book all the time.
Yeah.
Even in the AA literature, I talk about this book because I just went in a different direction. Completely. Never thought about it.
Yeah.
Never thought about a drink from that day on. John used to call this my Bible. And if I got upset, all he would say to me was, get the book. Get the book. That was it.
Good.
Yeah, so I had a lot of fun.
That's amazing. And
you had a lot of fun, did you say?
With the people I work with, the recovering community. They pick up my humor. And there was one man who used to sit right in the front when I lectured or did a group. And one day he said to me, you remind me of my mother. And I said, I don't quite know how to take that. And he said, do you know what she called herself? And I said, I do not. And he said, bad bitch. Well, that has stuck at Living Green. And Mad made me a little bracelet and put BB in the middle. And I got out to do a grief group a couple of weeks ago, and I'd never seen this man. He was sitting on the step. I get out my car. He smiles and says, hello. He said, are you the bad bitch? And I said, that's me.
You're welcome.
Hilarious. I can see a lot of funny things. Working with cancer patients, you will be amazed how funny they are.
With cancer patients?
They tell me chemo jokes. They don't like a doctor. They tell them to get lost. I mean, it's hysterical. Hysterical. I love them.
Oh,
Them and my bereaved parents astonish me. I don't know how they get out of bed in the morning. Well, my John had 3 cancers. I was his care sharer for 10 years. And he died at home. Mm-hmm. Well, he had 3 of them.
That's crazy.
And oops, there is Churchill. So you won't let me pick him up. Let's see if I can find him. Hi, Churchill. Would you let me pick you up? The hell I will, he said.
There's no big.
Oops, go away. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of him.
Okay.
Because I might have one that I can show you. We'll see. But anyway.
Jill, your cat, no, John?
Oh, no. He knew Della and Daisy and Bella.
Okay.
And he was a dog man. When we adopted Bella, she walked out of the case straight onto his lap. So that was that. That was the end of him being a dog man.
Something went.
Oh, shush. I don't like it when my phone talks back at me. It's very rude.
So rude.
Very rude.
So rude.
I can't find it. Anyway.
Okay. So he's attacking you?
Gone.
Oh.
No, he's disgusted. Disgusted of North Wales has just walked out the door.
I thought maybe while you're talking about John, I think I'll come in and listen. What?
He was a very special man. I was so damaged by my being married to the narcissist. And I was on my own for 8 years, went back to school, got all my degrees, wasn't interested, just me and my children. And he showed up one day, just like that. And as soon as I looked at him, it was like,
Really?
So I got rid of him. I got rid of him. And a year later, he called me, and it took him 2 years to convince me he was real.
You didn't believe him.
So loving and just amazing, an amazing person. I've got a picture of him.
Nice. Yes, I had the honor of meeting John, and he was so friendly and welcoming, opening, and funny that I just thought, well, now I understand it.
He was joking in hospice. He said to me one day, I think that little nurse is in love with me. I said, well, everybody else is, so why shouldn't she be?
She doesn't want to be left out.
We had a celebration life after he died, and they all showed up.
Oh.
I called them Earth Angels. They were fabulous, phenomenal. And when they found out that I'd been trained by Dame Cicely Saunders in London when I was 18, she was the founder of hospice. I was walking on water.
They all bowed.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's it. Like, can we touch you? Oh, get away.
We're not worthy.
No. So funny. But they were marvelous. Hospice nurses are phenomenal. They really are.
Well, the grief dynamic is huge in your life. I totally understand that. And being in my family dynamic right now, the 14 of us that were a family are now down to 8 people. So you're constantly facing this urgency of thinking, I don't know how much time I have left. I have all these people that I love in my family, and how much time do I have left with them? So what first got you started working with grief patients or in the counseling?
Well, I'm one of the founders of NOVA, Network of Victims Assistance, and also of Victim Services in Montgomery County. And I found that the grief thing and the grief aspect, even when people went into treatment from drugs and alcohol, they left their best friend outside the door. So grief isn't just death. Grief is huge. It's loss. It's enormous. But what I found was that a lot of people were afraid of it. And I'm not talking about the people who were dying. I'm talking about the people in their friends. They didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to do.
Yes.
So that pretty much started it. The people, when I was on the radio, they would call me and say, this is happening. What should I do? What should I say?
Yeah.
And that's how it really started. But then when I've been working with addiction since 1970. So I'm very familiar with lots of overdoses. I'm familiar, unfortunately, with homicide, suicide. And I found that there was a severe lacking in treatment when it came to grief. So that's when I started. That's when I stepped in. And my PhD is in grief. That's what I specialized in. And I had to work myself. They couldn't find a professor for me because I knew more than they did. So I worked my way through my whole program.
Yes.
It was very strange. But Victor Frankl helped, of course, and Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who worked with cancer patients and was a genius in terms of grief. And then when I was on the radio one night, this was in 1988, I got a call from a woman and she said, I'm a member of the Compassionate Friends and we would like you to come and speak. And I said, what's the Compassionate Friends? So she told me. And the Compassionate Friends was founded in England by a cleric in a hospital with 3 young women who had stillborn babies and there was nothing. So they started this group round the kitchen table called the Compassionate Friends. It's in every country of the world. And it's for families who've lost a child to death in any way, in any form. So I thought to myself, what on earth am I going to say? But I went.
Yeah.
And it was love at first sight. And I've been with them since 1988. I spoke just a couple of weeks ago. And I take, when someone calls me that wants to see me, and I always say to them, have you been to a Compassionate Friends meeting? Because I think you might not need me if you go to a Compassionate Friends meeting. So they have a website and a list of all over the place. They have conventions, all kinds of things. So I'm very honored to be trusted by bereaved parents because I'm not one, although they insist I am because I've had 2 miscarriages. I don't see it that way, but they do.
Yeah.
So I'm very honored that they trust me because a lot of people say stupid things, and stupid is my worst curse word, I might say.
Okay.
And I'm currently writing a little book on what not to say. For example, they'll say, well, you have other children. What's that got to do with anything? Or
Wow.
they said to one young woman who had this stillborn baby that was the doctor's fault. She shouldn't have died. I took her to a meeting and she said people were saying to her, well, you're young, you'll get pregnant again.
Oh,
Like that one didn't matter.
Mm.
And one of the worst is they're in a better place. I want to slap the hell out of them, I tell you. I'm not a
Yeah.
violent woman,
Yeah.
but boy, I get livid. Why don't you just stop and think before you open your frigging mouth? Really?
That's right. Please, just stop talking.
So they're all sending me all these things that have been sent to them, and I'm putting them, and then all the proceeds will go to the Compassionate Friends because it's a marvelous organization. I just had a friend and a colleague about 4 or 5 months ago that her 48-year daughter just died of heart,
Oh,
just like that.
God.
So you can imagine, awful.
Yes.
So
Yes.
finally I managed to get her to Bastleton, which is an excellent meeting.
Okay.
And I took her and her granddaughter, who was the daughter of the one that died.
mm,
And they
Mhm.
just took her right in.
That's-
And she was so glad she'd gone. They were giving out phone numbers. I mean, right from the start. They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can't
I'll
say
make sure
enough
and have it
about
in the website too, so people can.
that. Would be
look it
great
up.
because they do have all over the world where the meetings are and
Thank
everything's
goodness.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, local ones. They're marvelous.
Sounds
And
absolutely.
then there's another one, the
Absolutely.
Parents of Murdered Children. Of course, they have a website.
What's the second one you just said?
The Parents of Murdered Children. Now that started in Philadelphia in City Hall. There was a group, an English group, and the singer was Sid Vicious. And I swear to this day, he killed this young woman. I know he did, but he got away with it. And the parents started this group that I was involved with from the start. In City Hall it started, and now it's all over the place. But I have a podcast of a woman, Wendy Lavin, whose daughter was murdered, and she was amazing, phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
We'll have to look that up.
yeah, I think you'd understand a lot about it listening to her because she's very articulate,
Nice.
and it was her only daughter,
Mm.
her only child.
Mm.
Yeah, and
Well,
she's a Brit,
it's way too prevalent now.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why, people
Yeah.
say, well, are you going to retire? And I said, yes, when I stop breathing. I mean, what's the date today? The 9th?
It is.
It's my birthday on the 15th. Do you know how old I will be?
I really don't.
91.
You are not.
That's what they all say. Yay! I was born September the 15th, 1933.
Well, shut my mouth. You're amazing.
They asked the recovering community. They asked me once, there's always a smart ass there. So I said, I'm going to be 91. And they went, you're lying, with one voice. And I said, that's the best compliment I could possibly have. Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
And my youngest son,
my God.
Daniel,
Yes.
works in the retirement
Yeah.
community. He said, Mom, I've got some 50-year-olds in here. They're older than you are. It's simple. You don't listen to anybody who shoulds on you. It's that simple.
Write it down.
Write
Put
it
it on
down.
your mirror. Look at it every day.
I say.
I love it. I was going to get into change that's on your website, but we were going to hold that off for another podcast.
You're too young for that. I go
For
into my kitchen and I say, what the hell did I come in here for? So I have to come back to the office to remind myself what I went in the kitchen for.
How the hell did I get here?
That's right. Half my age do the same thing. That's the Royal Navy, that one.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This is John's memorial arm.
Ah,
It's all about him, all of
I
it.
love it. And when did all these tattoos start?
When he died, when I was 82, I had the first one.
And Doesn't it hurt like hell?
You know what hurt? This one, the black cat. That was his cat.
Oh.
All that filling in. And it's funny because the doctor said to me, well, what's that dragon? I said, oh, that's me. I'm the dragon lady. I had to appear somewhere. As a matter of fact, I've got dragon earrings on.
Oh, look at you.
Do you know it's the year of the dragon?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. You have to keep up with me, Janice.
I can't. It's impossible. Oh, I'm lucky to be on the same schedule for you right now.
Well, watch it because I have a grasshopper brain, so I might disappear at any minute.
Wait till the end of the podcast.
Well, I will.
Okay, so you've got your wonderful book ready, 366
Yes.
Encouragement for Prosperity, and I will be getting that book. It sounds amazing.
Yes. Well, they're all my books are
Would
out
you
of
mind?
print. They're all out
they
of
are?
print.
Oh.
Yeah, but you could get them. Amazon
no.
has under print.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a spare one. I might send it out. But see, I've overcome my vanity. I have to put my glasses under it. Otherwise, I give out wrong phone numbers or I turn up at wrong appointments. So I'll read today. Shall I read today's?
Yes, please.
All right. It's called Wishing and Believing. He who wishes to become rich wishes to become so immediately. And that's by someone called Univel. Once the wish is made, it is but a matter of time unless doubt enters into conscious thought. Believing and imagining make things happen. We can put negative boundaries on ourselves with simple statements like, I can't believe my good luck. I can't believe I earn this much money. Believe it. If you can't believe it, who can? The constant belief and affirmation of plenty in one's life creates the aura of positive energy that makes it happen. You're not going to feel the same every day, but be constant in affirming financial security, comfort and joy. You have the right to those riches that are available for all, so open your mind to them. I do believe my good fortune. I am open to receive.
Yes. Get that in my head.
What's your birthday, Janice? What's
March
your birthday?
25th.
Let me see what that is. There we go. March 20. Each day I get farther and farther out of debt. Gerald Mundis. One day at a time is powerful in recovery from financial chaos. It's important when you're getting out of debt to look at the means you live with right now. Create a realistic spending plan that will reduce your debt without depriving you of necessities now. Find a financial professional who can help you make progress in this least punitive way. Give yourself a pat on the back each time you move further away from that debt. Look at the sources of your debts and the origins of your beliefs about money. Learn to forgive yourself for financial mistakes you made in the past. Appreciate how far you've come and have confidence in your ability for the future. One day at a time, I'm freeing myself from debt. You know, I wrote a book about money. I told you that, right?
Well, I think I have it here.
Credit, Cash, and Codependency.
There it is. Yes. That's another. I think you gave me that book.
Probably. It's all about me. Because I was one of those people.
Well, luckily I can say I am not in debt and we pay off our credit cards every month.
Me too.
I've got a 401k and all that good stuff. So, but you gave me that book years and years ago. So thank you. So I will celebrate where I am today.
Again. Yes, that's right. Again. Absolutely do. Because George Bernard Shaw, the Irish playwright, he wrote, if you can do it, it's not bragging.
Ah, well, there you go.
Short and sweet, to the point.
And I have to credit you with this podcast because you were the one with the
I do?
insight to tell me, yes, first of all, to get off my ass and finish the books. And then,
Oh, I'm such a lady. I didn't say that.
okay, not exact words. Close. And then you said, just off the cuff, well, how about a podcast? Start a podcast. Just write, Janice.
Yep. Yes.
So I did.
It's great. You're a great host.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, I've been interviewed on a lot of podcasts, and you're really, really good.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. That means a lot to me, by the way.
Good. Well, it's true, because I always mean what I say and say what I mean.
You do not give out bullshit. I'm sorry.
Do not give
Perfect descriptive word.
I will make sure and put explicit content on this podcast.
Spore.
Let them be surprised. So I saw this today on TikTok. Jesus.
You're too young for this. I
So
told you
old.
already.
So old. TikTok. So we're going to leave with a little bit of humor. Someone asked me where my sister went to hunt. I told them Alaska. They said to me, fine, I'll ask her later.
That is
Okay, stupid,
that
but
is funny.
why not?
I think that's funny.
So if anybody has questions for Dr. Yvonne Kaye, once again, please check out her website, YvonneKayeWisdom.com. She's got wonderful information, as I said before, and insight. She also has contact information.
Yes.
It doesn't list your books, though. I was not happy about that.
Isn't it? Oh, I'll have to go on to her, Kim, to put those on. I know there's another. I spoke at the United Nations at the United Nations in 1988 on
Wow.
the drug situation, and that's not on there either. So she's got a couple of things there. She keeps saying to me, "You didn't just live one life. I can't keep up. You've lived at least 3 lives."
Well, excuse me. Oh, you're amazing.
Well,
Okay.
I think humor is crucially important, especially now.
Vital.
It really, really is.
Yes.
And to look honestly at the situation politically is vital right now.
Please search your soul before you vote.
Indeed. You're so right.
I want to thank my friend, Dr. Yvonne Kaye, for joining me today, for her insight, but especially her humor. It means a tremendous amount to me. And you can't cry, but I can.
All right, go ahead. You can cry for me. I'll call you. This happened. I want you to cry.
Just do me this one
We're
favor.
working
Do
on
me
it.
this one favor.
I go to therapy. We're working on it.
You're a work in progress. I love it. And I want to ask our listeners, after this wonderful podcast, think about the changes you've been through. Think of what you've had to do to survive. Be proud of yourself. Please keep moving forward, knowing that you're valuable. You don't know who you're going to meet or talk to on any given day that you may save. Just with a smile or an understanding or a listening ear. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you all next time on Family Dynamic Conversations podcast. And Yvonne, how would you like to end this?
I would like to say that you need to recognize your own beauty, your own courage, and wear a rubber band. I wear a rubber band. And every time you say something negative about yourself, it hurts like hell. And you know that you're doing it, nobody else. Blessings.
Very true.
One day at a time, sometimes 1 minute at a time.
Very good.
And you are loved, Janice.
Thank you,
By
Yvonne.
me.
I love you. And
Thank
what kind of
you.
day are you going to have
And
today?
what kind of day are you going to have today?
What's today? I'm going to see my chiropractor because I want a new back. So he's going to be working on that. And then after when I get back, I've applied to Amazon for a new back. They don't sell them. And then I've got work the rest of the day until the evening. I'll be working till about 8 o'clock tonight.
And what kind of day should everybody else have? What's your send off, Yvonne?
It's very simple. Have any kind of day you like. It's not my frigging responsibility. It's yours.
That's have a wonderful evening. Oh,
wait.
Okay. There it is. My queen. All right, I'm going to stop recording now because I can't stop laughing.
Gotcha.